The station was called Helix Gate. But to most beings, it felt like a cold metal throat that swallowed hope. Ships arrived every minute, carrying traders, soldiers, pilgrims, and refugees. Lights floated like artificial stars, and announcements echoed in dozens of languages. Everything here worked on credits, permits, and power. If you had none of those, you learned to stay quiet. Humans were still new to this galaxy. Not feared, not respected, just present. A human man named Daniel stood near one of the waiting corridors, holding a small travel bag. His clothes were clean but worn thin. Beside him stood his daughter, Lena. She was small for her age, with dark hair tied loosely and eyes that watched everything with silent curiosity. They had been traveling for 2 days without real food. Daniel checked his credit chip again, even though he already knew the number would not change. It blinked red. Not enough for a meal. Not enough for a cabin. Barely enough to stay on the station without being removed. "It's okay," Lena said softly, sensing his worry. Daniel forced a smile. "We'll be fine. Our ship leaves soon." That was a half-truth. The ship was delayed. Again. Lena nodded and sat on the floor beside him. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, wrapped cookie. Chocolate chip. Slightly broken on one side. It was the last one. Daniel noticed and felt a small pain in his chest. He had saved that cookie for her, buying it with his final credits before leaving Earth's orbit. A small comfort for a long journey. "Save it," he said gently. "I know," Lena replied. She did not eat it. Across the wide corridor, hidden between cargo crates and shadow, another figure sat very still. The alien mother was tall but thin, her body shaped differently from humans, with long arms and skin that looked like dull stone. Her species was known on the station, but not kindly. They were poor, often blamed for crimes, and rarely defended. In her arms, she held a small child wrapped in cloth. The child made no sound, but its breathing was weak. The mother had not eaten in 3 days. She had sold everything she owned to get off her homeworld after the war. The station was supposed to be a stop, a place to find work or transport. Instead, she was trapped. No credits, no allies, no strength left. She watched the crowd with empty eyes, knowing no one would help. They never did. Lena saw her. At first, it was just a glance. Then another. Lena noticed how still the alien woman was. How carefully she held the child. Lena noticed the way others avoided that area, stepping around her like she was invisible. Lena stood up. Daniel noticed and placed a hand on her arm. "Where are you going?" Lena hesitated. "That lady. She looks tired." Daniel followed her gaze. He saw the alien woman and felt a familiar fear. Humans were warned to keep distance. The station was not kind to mistakes. "She's not human," he said carefully. "I know," Lena replied. "She's still a mom." Daniel opened his mouth to answer, then closed it again. He looked at Lena's face and saw something that reminded him of Earth. Of long nights and shared meals with strangers when times were hard. He let go. Lena walked slowly across the corridor. Her steps were small but steady. A few aliens noticed and turned their heads. A security drone shifted position, its eye glowing softly as it tracked her movement. The alien mother saw Lena approach and tensed. She pulled her child closer, ready for insult, or worse. Humans were unpredictable. Some were kind. Some were cruel. Lena stopped a short distance away. She looked at the child first, then at the mother. Without saying a word, Lena unwrapped the cookie. The smell was faint but real. The alien mother's eyes widened slightly. Her body language changed, confusion mixing with alarm. She did not reach out. Lena held the cookie with both hands and extended it forward. "For you," Lena said in simple trade language. Her accent, rough but clear. The corridor felt quieter, though the noise had not changed. The alien mother stared. Her species understood gifts differently. Nothing was free. Everything demanded payment. A gift from a stranger, especially food, Could be a trap. She shook her head slowly. Lena frowned. She thought for a moment, then broke the cookie in half. She placed one half on the floor between them and pushed it gently closer. "I'm not hungry," Lena said. It was not true, but she said it anyway. The alien mother's breath trembled. She scanned the area, expecting laughter or violence. None came. Only watching eyes. Slowly, carefully, she reached out and picked up the cookie. Her fingers shook. She did not eat it immediately. Instead, she lowered her head until her forehead touched the metal floor. It was an old gesture, forgotten by most, but full of meaning. "Thank you, I remember." Lena smiled, not fully understanding, but feeling warm anyway. The child stirred. The alien mother broke off a tiny piece and touched it to the child's mouth. The child relaxed, comforted by the taste. Even more than the food itself, Lena watched quietly. Behind her, Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. Pride, fear, and awe, all mixed together. Around them, reactions spread. A merchant paused mid-step. A soldier frowned. A scholar from a distant system began recording, sensing importance. The security drone did not intervene. Its programming found no violation. Far above, in a private observation chamber, an ancient being watched the scene unfold. Its species had studied civilizations for millions of years. Wars, empires, extinction. This moment caught its attention. The being marked the recording with a simple note. Uncalculated behavior detected. Lena returned to her father and sat beside him. She leaned against his side, suddenly tired. "You okay?" Daniel asked softly. "Yes," she said. "I feel better." Daniel did not ask why. The alien mother remained seated for a long time, holding the cookie half like a sacred object. She looked at the human child and memorized her face. Life debts were rare now. But they were not forgotten. The station continued to move. Ships departed. Announcements played. Deals were made. But something had shifted, quietly and without permission. In a galaxy ruled by power, a small human girl had done something dangerous. She had been kind when she had nothing, and the galaxy, though it did not yet know it, had just taken its first step toward change. The station did not react loudly to what had happened. No alarms sounded. No announcements were made. Life continued the same way it always did. But beneath the noise and movement, something subtle had changed. The alien mother stayed where she was long after the human girl returned to her father. She held the half cookie carefully, wrapped again in its paper. Her child slept more peacefully now, the small taste enough to calm the hunger pains for a while. For her people, food given in true need was never just food. It was meaning. It was memory. She watched the humans from a distance. The man looked tired, worried, but strong in a quiet way. The child leaned against him. Already half asleep, the mother committed their faces to memory. Every detail. Her species did not forget debts. Not ever. When her strength returned enough, she stood and moved deeper into the station's lower corridors, where the unwanted gathered. There, she found a hidden data terminal. Old and cracked but still working. With careful movements, she activated a secure channel known only to her people. Her message was short. "I was given food when I was starving." The giver was human. A child. That was enough. Far away, across several star systems, the message was received. Those who read it went very still. Back on Helix Gate, Daniel and Lena waited. The delay notice changed again. Another 2 hours. Daniel sighed and sat down fully, stretching his legs. Hunger made his head light. He worried Lena would start to feel it soon. A tall alien merchant passed nearby, one who dealt in station logistics and transport. He had seen the interaction earlier. He had not understood it then, but it stayed in his thoughts. Humans were confusing. Weak, but stubborn. Poor, yet generous in strange ways. The merchant slowed, then stopped. "You," he said in broken trade language, pointing to Daniel. "Your child. Why she give food?" Daniel looked up, cautious. Because someone needed it. The merchant blinked. But it was your last. Daniel nodded. Yes. The merchant made a sound that might have been laughter or disbelief. Illogical. Maybe, Daniel said calmly. The merchant studied Lena, then Daniel. After a moment, he pulled out a small ration bar and placed it on the floor between them. Not enough to be generous, just enough to be noticed. Station surplus, he said quickly, as if embarrassed. Then, he walked away. Daniel stared at the ration bar. Lena smiled faintly. See? She said. It spreads. Daniel did not know if that was true, but he accepted the food with a quiet thank you. Not everyone reacted kindly. In an upper-level control room, station officials reviewed reports. A minor data spike showed increased social chatter around the human sector. One official frowned. Humans again, she said. Always causing irregular behavior. Should we intervene? Another asked. No law broken, the first replied. But keep watching. So they did. Across the station, small things happened. A maintenance worker redirected heat vents toward the lower corridor, where the alien mother had been sitting. A medical drone paused longer than required near a group of refugees. A vendor lowered prices without explanation. None of it was dramatic, but it was new. Lena slept for a while, her head on her father's shoulder. Daniel watched ships come and go, thinking about Earth. About how people once shared meals because they had to. Because survival was not a solo act. He wondered if the galaxy would ever learn that. When Lena woke, she felt weaker. Daniel gave her the ration bar, insisting she eat. She broke it in half without thinking, and offered part back to him. He smiled and accepted. Nearby, a small alien child watched them with wide eyes. The ancient observer species continued to watch as well. Their kind rarely interfered. They measured civilizations by how they treated the powerless. Humans had been marked as uncertain, emotional, unstable. This moment complicated the record. Data streams showed increased attention on the earlier recording. Someone had leaked a low-quality clip of the human girl offering food. It spread slowly at first, passed between private channels. Comment sections filled with confusion, mockery, and debate. Primitive behavior, wasteful, dangerous empathy, but also strange, unexpected. Why does this feel important? A scholar from a neutral world replayed the clip again and again. Not because of the action itself, but because of the expression on the child's face. There was no fear, no calculation, just decision. That unsettled him. In the refugee sector, the alien mother returned later that cycle. She sat closer this time, not hiding. Her posture was straighter. When Lena noticed her again, she waved. The mother hesitated, then returned the gesture awkwardly. She did not approach. Not yet. Her people believed in patience. Security drones noted the interaction but did nothing. Their threat models did not include kindness, escalation. Time passed. Eventually, a station announcement echoed through the corridors. Human transport vessel Orion's Mercy now boarding at Gate 17. Daniel let out a breath he did not realize he was holding. He gathered their bag and helped Lena stand. As they moved toward the gate, the alien mother stood as well. She watched them go, then made a decision. She followed, staying far enough not to alarm them, close enough not to lose sight. At the gate, boarding was slow. Humans were checked twice. Their documents were examined with extra care. Lena waited patiently, swinging her legs. Suddenly, a station officer approached Daniel. "Your clearance is delayed," the officer said. "Step aside." Daniel's heart sank. "Is there a problem?" "Routine," the officer replied, uninterested. The line moved on without them. Lena looked up. "Are we in trouble?" "I don't think so," Daniel said, though he was not sure. From the edge of the crowd, the alien mother watched. She saw the familiar pattern. Power pressing down. Rules used as weapons. She moved. Her species was not welcome at official gates, but she stepped forward anyway, holding her child and the wrapped half-cookie. Station guards noticed her immediately. "Move back," one said sharply. She did not. Instead, she raised the cookie and spoke in clear, formal trade language, her voice steady. "I declare witness," she said. "This human family acted with mercy under starvation. I invoke memory." "I invoke memory." The guards froze. So did the officer. Old words, rarely used. "What caste are you?" the officer demanded. The alien mother straightened fully now, her posture no longer that of a beggar. "I am of the Cathari bloodline," she said. "Exile-born, debt-holder." A murmur spread through the area. Some aliens stepped back, others leaned closer. The officer hesitated. Protocols scrolled across his display. Ancient covenants, obscure clauses. He cleared his throat. "Your claim is noted." But a signal interrupted him. A priority transmission reached the gate systems. External, authorized at a level far above the station. The officer's eyes widened. "Clear the humans," the system voice ordered. Immediately, the barrier lights turned green. Daniel stared, stunned. Lena looked between the alien mother and the gate. "Did we do something?" Lena whispered. The alien mother lowered her head slightly, not touching the ground this time. "You did," she said softly. "Long ago. When it mattered." Daniel did not fully understand. But he understood enough. They boarded the ship. As the doors closed, Lena pressed her hand to the window. She saw the alien mother standing tall, watching them leave. Lena waved. The alien mother placed a hand over her heart. The ship lifted away from Helix Gate. Behind it, the station buzzed with questions. Across the galaxy, systems began to take note. A simple act had refused to stay small. And it was only beginning. The human ship Orion's Mercy moved through open space with slow, steady engines. It was old, patched together from many repairs. But it held. Inside, refugees rested wherever they could. Some slept, some stared into nothing. Everyone carried worry like extra weight. Daniel sat beside Lena in a narrow seat near the wall. She was awake, looking out through a small window at the stars sliding past. Her stomach was full for now. But her thoughts were busy. "Papa," she said quietly. "That lady, will she be okay?" Daniel followed her gaze, though the station was long gone. "I think so," he replied. She seemed strong. Lena nodded, trusting his answer. But she still held the image of the alien mother in her mind. The way she stood tall at the gate, the way her voice changed. Daniel did not know it yet, but that moment was already traveling faster than their ship. On Helix Gate, the alien mother remained at the boarding area long after the humans had left. Station guards kept their distance. They had received updates, quiet warnings. She was no longer treated as invisible. She returned to the lower corridors, but not to hide. She found another terminal, better protected than the last. This time, she sent a longer message. Names, evidence. The record of witness, she had declared. Across space, the Cathari people received the message. They had once ruled regions of the galaxy through honor, not conquest. Long ago, they had bound themselves with strict laws about debt and mercy. When their leaders broke those laws and chose war, the people fractured. Exiles were created. The galaxy forgot them, but the laws remained. A council was called. Old leaders rose from silence. Military fleets, hidden and dormant, were powered again. Not for war, for balance. "The debt has been named," one elder said, and witnessed. "The giver was a child," another replied. "A human." There was a long pause. "Then the response must be greater than the gift," the eldest decided. On another world, far from Helix Gate, human diplomats sat in a cold chamber made for taller, stronger species. They were tired, hungry, outnumbered. The topic was humanity's status. "Humans lack economic stability," one alien representative said. "They drain resources. They form emotional bonds that disrupt order." Another added. "A vote is proposed," announced the chamber voice. "Reclassification of humans as expendable labor species." The human delegate clenched his fists but said nothing. He had heard this tone before. He knew how it ended. Then the chamber doors opened. A ripple of surprise moved through the room as tall, stone-skinned figures entered. Cathari. Rare. Feared. Silent for generations. Gasps followed. Data screens flashed warnings. The Cathari leader stepped forward. "We request the floor," she said calmly. The chamber hesitated, then granted it. No one wanted to deny a Cathari request. She raised a small object, preserved, wrapped carefully. "A human child shared food when she was starving," the leader said. "This is proof." The recording played. Lena's small figure appeared. The cookie. The offer. The quiet courage. The room was silent. This act was not strategy, the Cathari leader continued. It was mercy. "According to ancient law, such mercy binds us," a representative scoffed nervously. "You would alter galactic policy over a child's emotion?" "Yes," the Cathari replied. "Because empires fall when they forget compassion." Screens updated. Treaty clauses appeared. Forgotten laws reactivated. The vote was suspended. Elsewhere, the recording spread further. Not edited. Not dramatized. Just the moment as it happened. Scholars studied it. Soldiers watched it. Ordinary beings felt something uncomfortable in their cores. Humans were still poor. Still weak. But now they were watched differently. On Orion's Mercy, none of this was known. The ship docked at a temporary human settlement orbiting a quiet star. It was not much. Just platforms, recycled air, shared work. But it was safe. Daniel and Lena disembarked with the others. Aid workers guided them gently. "Food will be provided," one said. "Shelter assignments soon." Lena listened carefully. She noticed how people shared water bottles. How strangers helped carry bags. It felt familiar. Like Earth used to be. Days passed. Daniel found work repairing life support units. Lena attended a small learning center with other children from many worlds. They traded stories, drawings, and strange snacks. One day, a message arrived for Daniel. "Personal delivery," the worker said, confused. "Priority level." Daniel opened it. The message was short. "Your daughter's kindness has been acknowledged. Do not fear. Balance is moving." No sender name. Daniel stared at the screen, unsure how to feel. That same day, ships began arriving at the settlement. Not human ships. Others. Medical vessels. Trade barges. Protection cruisers that took position nearby without explanation. Aid flowed in quietly. Human leaders were confused. But grateful. Across the galaxy, resistance formed as well. Some powers did not like this shift. They did not like the idea that kindness could influence law. They began to plan. On a border station, a human supply convoy was delayed. Inspections dragged on. Tension grew. Then Cathari ships arrived. No weapons fired. No threats spoken. The convoy was cleared instantly. News spread. Humans are under Cathari protection. The phrase carried weight. Back on the settlement, Lena played outside, drawing shapes in the dust. She drew stars. She drew a cookie. She drew two figures standing together. A shadow fell across her drawing. She looked up. The alien mother stood there. Cleaner now, stronger, wearing simple but formal markings. Her child slept peacefully against her chest. Lena's eyes widened. "You came." The mother knelt slowly. "I promised myself I would." Daniel approached, stunned but calm. Is everything okay?" "Yes," the alien mother replied. "Because it was not before." She placed a small object into Lena's hands. A smooth stone carved with symbols. "This marks you as a giver," she said. "Among my people, that means you are never alone." Lena smiled and hugged the stone. "I just shared," she said. The mother's eyes softened. "That is how it begins." Far above, the ancient observer species updated their records again. Civilization status revised. Humans were no longer marked as unstable. They were marked as dangerous, because a species that chooses kindness in hunger cannot be controlled by fear, and the galaxy was still not ready for that. Years passed, and the galaxy had begun to notice humans in ways no one had expected. Ships still moved between star systems. Trade still flowed, Wars still occurred in distant sectors, but wherever humans went, their reputation preceded them, not as warriors or conquerors, but as beings whose actions could shift entire civilizations. Lena grew taller, stronger, and wiser. Though she never lost the softness in her eyes, she remembered the station, the cookie, and the alien mother's careful gaze. Those memories were small, personal, yet they had rippled through the stars in ways she could never have imagined. She now moved among humans and aliens alike, always quiet, always observing, always ready to act when needed. Her kindness, once tiny and fragile, had become a symbol across several systems. Daniel continued his work in engineering. His hands repaired ships, life support systems, and other fragile technology that kept humans and allies alive in inhospitable space. Yet he carried a quiet pride in his daughter, not because she had grown or succeeded, but because she had unknowingly started something far larger than they could have imagined. The alien mother, whom Lena had only recently met again, became a close ally. She visited often, always accompanied by her child, who was now energetic and healthy. The Cathari people, her own kind, had risen to prominence quietly, moving through political channels, making subtle but decisive interventions in conflicts that might have harmed humans. It was a delicate balance of protection and restraint, ensuring that humans could grow without being crushed by galactic powers. One day, Lena found herself in a council chamber she had never seen before. It was built for species of every size and shape, with seats rising like steps in a massive amphitheater. Holograms floated in the air, showing maps, reports, and starship movements. She had been invited not as a diplomat, not as a warrior, but as a witness. Someone remembered what she had done years ago. Someone still believed it mattered. The council was in session. Leaders from countless species spoke in turn. Plans were made for exploration, trade, and security. The discussions were tense. Alliances had shifted, and trust was fragile. Then, the doors opened, and the Cathari leader entered, the alien mother at her side. Whispers filled the chamber. Few expected the presence of exiles, much less someone who had been part of a minor incident years ago. The leader raised her voice, calm but commanding. This council has debated the future of humanity for decades. Today, I present evidence that humans cannot be judged by power alone. Their influence is measured by something more subtle, their capacity for compassion, even in scarcity. I present to you the girl who shared a cookie when she had nothing. A hologram appeared above the floor. It replayed the moment at Helix Gate. Lena offering the cookie, the alien mother bowing in gratitude, and the small child tasting the first morsel in days. The chamber fell silent. Even the most hardened leaders were quiet, some exchanging astonished glances. The Cathari leader continued, "Acts of mercy cannot be forgotten. A species that shows kindness when survival is uncertain is a species that can be trusted, feared, and relied upon. Humanity has demonstrated this, and they have not stopped." Lena's heart beat faster. She had never expected this. She had never expected anyone to remember a cookie. She glanced at Daniel, whose eyes were wide, proud but uneasy. A representative from another sector, one that had long opposed human expansion, spoke next. "This is unusual. A child's action influencing policy? How can such a small moment matter?" The Cathari leader smiled faintly. "The galaxy measures things incorrectly. It counts fleets, credits, and weapons. But it forgets that true power comes from the courage to act rightly when no one is watching. That is the measure of humanity." After long discussions and debates, the council reached a decision. Humans were not to be ruled as labor, nor treated as weak. They were to be recognized as a key species whose ethics and empathy would shape future alliances. They were given a voice in interstellar trade negotiations and exploration initiatives, not because they demanded it, but because they had shown it could be done differently. Back on the settlement, the news spread slowly. Daniel and Lena walked through the bustling corridors of their home base. Aliens and humans mingled freely now, trading knowledge, food, and stories. Some spoke of the humans who had saved a Cathari convoy from pirates. Others whispered about Lena's courage at Helix Gate. Over time, the story of a small cookie became a symbol, a legend, quietly told in every sector where humans traveled. One evening, Lena and the alien mother stood at the edge of a viewing platform, looking out at distant stars. The child of the mother ran around them, laughing in a language Lena could not understand. "Do you know what you started?" the mother asked softly. "I shared food," Lena replied. "I didn't start anything." The mother shook her head. "You did more than that. You reminded the galaxy that even the smallest acts can ripple across the stars. That courage and kindness are stronger than weapons when wielded wisely. The galaxy is finally beginning to learn it." Lena smiled. She looked out at the endless stretch of stars, glittering like scattered gems. She understood only a little of what had happened. But she knew this. Her choice to share had mattered. That small act had changed how countless beings thought, acted, and remembered. Daniel joined them, placing a hand on Lena's shoulder. "Sometimes, it's not the big victories that matter," he said quietly. "It's the small choices. You taught us that." Lena's eyes shone. "I just wanted someone to eat," she said. "And you did more than that," her father said. "You changed the galaxy without even trying." Across the stars, messages continued to arrive from species who had witnessed or heard of the act. Some brought aid. Some brought alliances. Some simply recorded it as a warning. "Underestimate humans at your own risk." The Cathari mother knelt beside Lena, placing a hand gently over hers. "One day, when you are older, you will see how far the ripples reach. Every act of kindness, every choice to help, every moment of courage, it all counts. You are part of something far greater than yourself." Lena nodded, feeling both small and immense at once. She understood, at last, that the galaxy did not need humans to conquer it with warships or armies. It had been conquered in a different way, quietly and invisibly, by courage, generosity, and the heart of a small human child. Years turned into decades. Humans expanded into new systems. Ships carried engineers, scientists, and explorers, but also teachers, doctors, and children. They negotiated peace treaties, mediated disputes, and offered aid to those who needed it. They were not the largest or strongest species, but they were trusted and relied upon. Wherever they went, whispers of the cookie doctrine followed a reminder that true power was not in domination, but in the courage to act rightly. Lena grew into a respected figure across multiple sectors. She never forgot the alien mother, or the child, or the cookie that had started it all. She never sought fame or recognition. Her acts of kindness continued quietly, changing lives in ways unseen, shaping alliances, and creating hope. And one evening, when she looked at the stars, she remembered a simple truth. The galaxy had not been ready for humans. Not for their weapons, not for their fleets, not for their technology, but for their courage, their empathy, and the fact that a small human girl had once shared a cookie with a poor alien mother. That single act had altered the course of civilizations. And the galaxy, slowly but surely, was learning that no matter how large or powerful a species might seem, it was the humanity within that decided its fate. The galaxy was still dangerous. Conflicts still arose. Powers still clashed. But in every shadowed corner, in every forgotten corridor, in every hungry mouth, the memory of that small act lived on. It reminded everyone that even in scarcity, even in fear, mercy, kindness, and courage could change the world. Lena smiled as the stars stretched endlessly before her. She no longer feared the darkness. She understood it. The galaxy was vast, complex, and unpredictable, but it had learned something essential. Humans were not to be underestimated. Their strength was not in their weapons, but in their hearts. And it all began with a cookie.